What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NFL DFS video for Sunday Night Football Showdown breakdown. Atlanta Falcons, Kansas City Chiefs. So Chiefs are heading to Atlanta. We've got a promising showdown here. Hopefully better than Thursday Night Showdown. That was a terrible game overall. Hopefully it's more like what we did last Monday night. So we're going to break it down. We're going to look at it. We're going to talk about it. You guys loved the Thursday night one. You guys have loved it throughout. So we are going to talk about a little bit of statistics that go into building these lineups. Then we're going to build the lineups using SaberSim. So we've used SaberSim the past few videos for MLB. So we're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check out how the lineups do a little bit. You can, mess with it to simulate and stuff like that. Again, these videos are sponsored by Outlier.Bet. For any of your sports betting needs, check out Outlier.Bet, the first sports betting super app. They bring in so much. And just kind of what I'm going to show you real quick. You can find, what I love is the games breakdown for NFL. Then you got through. Then we've got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Atlanta Falcons, 2-0 and 1-1. So you can see right here the breakdown, matchup summary, third down conversions, which team converts better. So obviously Kansas City has converted better. Points, Kansas City has more points than Atlanta. Yards, passing yards per game, everything is there. So injuries are also there. Insights are also there for you. So again, Patrick Mahomes has failed to exceed 24.5 passing completions in 5 of his last 6 games versus top 10 defenses for passing attempts against 23.3 passing attempt completions per game average. So if you look at the under, he has hit that 83% of the time, and the best bet would be to add it to your picks for BetMGM. So if you have not already checked out Outlier for your sports betting needs, check them out. 2 options. Both of them are going to have a 7-day free trial, but the link is in the description down below. So if you click that link and you sign up, go through the 7-day free trial, and if you decide you want to go the next step and pay for it, $20 for a month will give you all of these insights, news, and notes that you need. If you do that, we're going to give you a free month of FTA Plus, which is a $30 value. On top of that, if you sign up for their Pro package, which is $130 a month, with our link, we're going to give you a free 3 months of FTA Plus, which is a $90 value on top of it. So again, if you have sports betting needs, check out Outlier.Bet. They are the sponsors of these videos. So again, the website is FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. We have a ton of information under the NFL tab. We have brought back our matchup tool, which I am going to use in a video to break down the entire main slate. So depending on when you watch this video, the main slate may already be done, or you're watching this a little bit earlier and you have time to check out that video. So make sure you check that video out. We're going to build with the matchup tool, and we're going to build with SaberSim as well. So that being said, Showdown. Statistically, we're breaking it down. So this current season, so the first 2 weeks and the beginning of the third week and all of last season, these are the statistics while building your lineups. 84% of the winning lineups the past season and a half have had at least one quarterback in their lineup. 6% of those winning lineups have used the entire $50,000 salary. 16% of the lineups have a $200 player or less. So if we go down to $200 player, you can kind of see there's a lot of injured reserve, but then there might be some that pop up out of nowhere, like Carterell Hodge, who hasn't done anything this year. In the first 2 weeks, he's playing, like he's on the team. He just hasn't done anything. So you don't necessarily need it because, again, only 16% of those lineups have had it. 80% of the winners have had at least one $4,000 player, which brings us to Ray McCloud, which I love Ray McCloud here. We used him in his, was that Monday Night Football game? I mean, he didn't do a ton, but he had 42 yards. He had 5 targets, 3 receptions. He was in, I believe he was in the Nuts lineup against the Eagles. I think so. I cannot remember, but I do believe he was. So he makes sense, and then obviously we go down from there. And then stack percentages. 4-2 stack has won 44% of the time. So you look at the game, you look at the team that has the most, so you can see Kansas City is a 3-point favorite. they have an implied team total of 25.4 to 22.4. But again, the Eagles were 5.5 point favorites, I believe, and they lost that to the Falcons. So again, there's a lot of things to go over there. A 3-3 stack, so if you do a 4-2 stack, obviously that would be, if you follow the game script, you do a few lineups that have a 4-2 stack of, if you think the Chiefs are going to win, you're going to stack the Chiefs 4 and 2. If you want to follow that up with, you think the Chiefs are going to win, but obviously the Falcons need to throw the ball a ton, 4-2 stack of the Falcons might not be too bad either. So 4-2 stack is 44% of the time. A 3-3 stack is won 36% of the time, and a 5-1 stack is won 21% of the time. Then we move into the captain percentages, or the MVP if you're on FanDuel or DraftKings. So captain, 39% of the time has been a wide receiver. So wide receiver has been in the captain spot 39% of the time. Running backs, 28% of the time. Quarterback, 17% of the time. Tight end, 7% of the time. Defense, 7% of the time, like the Jets defense on Thursday night. Or kicker, 2% of the time, like Jake Moody in week 1 when he went 6 for 6 and hit 1,000 yards of field goals in that game. So those are the percentages: 39% wide receiver, 28 running back, 17 quarterback, 7 tight end, defense 7, and kicker is 2. So right off the bat, if you were just looking for wide receivers to go with this, a lot of people are going to be on Rashee Rice. So obviously he's had the targets are there for him. He had already had a 100-yard game here, had a touchdown against Cincy in week 2. So that makes a lot of sense. You could also go Xavier Worthy, game log wise, 47 yards in week 1, had a touchdown, or 2 touchdowns. And week 2 did come back down to earth a little bit. Only 4 targets, 17 yards, 1 attempt for 5 yards on the ground. So didn't do much there. So Rashee Rice makes a lot of sense as that. But again, this is the problem. The Chiefs they have so many different weapons to throw to, and they've been just so inconsistent with who they throw to. You never know how it's going to break down. Travis Kelce has absolutely struggled the first 2 weeks. Most tight ends have struggled. He had 1 reception last week against Cincy on 3 targets for 5 yards. 1 rushing attempt for 1 yard. Week 1, 3 for 4 with 34 yards. No touchdowns out of him, but he is a stud. If they get down into the red zone, they could just dump the pass off to him, and he could bulldoze his way in for 2 touchdowns in this game. So I don't mind him as a captain or an MVP. Again, 7% of the time it's been a tight end. But again, it really just depends on how this lineup is going to go. Then obviously you have Carson Steele, who should be the lead back in this one. Didn't do anything last week. Did have a fumble. But obviously Pacheco is out. Now, we have... Is he even... Kareem Hunt, I don't know if he's here. Let's see. He won't... Okay, he won't be elevated. So, yeah, you're looking at Carson Steele, P. Ryan, and Keontae Ingram. So, Kareem Hunt, obviously, probably has to get back up into speed. Should be activated for week 4 and will probably be the lead back in this 14-headed running back by committee for Kansas City moving forward. But again, right now he won't be. So you got Carson Steele. You've got some cheaper options here. Keontae Ingram could be a cheap option if you want to go under the 4,000. These are just ones that we can build around. So again, we are going to use SaberSim to build some of these lineups. So just kind of looking at ownership and running the simulations. So for instance, they like the first one that comes up right here is a full Falcon stack, a 4-2 stack here. We talked about this. So let's go with that one. So Ray McLeod. Ray McLeod as the captain, which I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind what he brings to the table here. Should go under on. Everyone's going to be on the Chiefs. That's where people are going to zig. We want to zag. So Ray McLeod. Obviously, you need your quarterback to be throwing to him. So Kirk Cousins is in there. Then we have Robinson in there as well. Steele in there as well. You've got Rice and London. So this one is a stack. where we are seeing, and we've used it in this one, so we're going to pop this in here. This is just one of the stacks. So this is one that is against the grain, where it's going against the Chiefs, who everyone's going to be on the Chiefs. We can get a little bit of flex on the field there. But then you come back and you see a full Kansas City 4-2 stack. So Mahomes, the problem is he's not like been dominant. And quarterback has only been in the nuts spot here 17% of the time to take it down. But let's just build like we are there. So Steele and McLeod. So you've got Carson Steele. You've got Ray McLeod. You've got Robinson, Chiefs, and Rice. So this, for instance, maybe they're thinking Primetime Kirk is out, and that's why we will be seeing a Chiefs defense here. So if we look at the Chiefs defense game log wise, not too bad against Cincy. He did have a defensive fumble recovered, 3 sacks, and a defensive touchdown. So a lot of things can happen. This is an instance where if, Primetime Kirk is out. So that's the second lineup. Third lineup built, Rice at the top, which makes a lot of sense. So you have Rashee Rice here, Carson Steele. Apologies, my daughter came down, so I lost my train of thought. But we are looking at this with Rashee Rice, who probably is going to be the most highly owned wide receiver in the captain spot, I would just assume. Obviously, run it back with Carson Steele. He did fumble it, but I still think they have a lot of trust in him. Ray McLeod makes a lot of sense. Bijan makes sense. We're going to keep out Kirk here. We're going to go Mahomes, and then we're going to go Harrison Butker for the kicker, who had the game-winning kick yesterday or last week. He's 2 of 2 there, 1 field goal, 50+ made there as well. So Rashee Rice, Carson Steele, Ray McLeod, Bijan Robinson, Patrick Mahomes, and Harrison Butker for another lineup there. A obviously heavy Kansas City lineup. Kind of the same thing. You got Mahomes, but I kind of want to look at. That's kind of what I wanted to do. So so let's go Bijan here. Let's say he has decent, because if you look at him with his defense that he's going up against in the matchup, you can kind of see rushing yards allowed per game, 129.5. They are not good. Kansas City ranks 18th against them, which is great for us when we're building lineups. So Bijan at the top. We've got Mahomes coming in, so obviously we want Mahomes, but not necessarily in the captain spot. I want him throwing it to Noah Gray. So Noah Gray, for whatever reason, didn't do anything in week 2, but in week 1, 37 yards. Another one that I kind of want to look at is Justin Watson at 2,800. That would tick the box off for under 4,000. He's had targets and yards there. Hasn't done anything with it, though. That's the only problem. You kind of just looking at other ones. Mooney you could look at Mooney. He had a good game against Philly with a touchdown. Darnell Mooney makes sense. You could look at P. Ryan, who's now going to be the second he's still second, I believe. Tyler Algier, he kind of just spells Bijan Robinson off. I could definitely see him vulturing a touchdown in this matchup is the only problem with him. Butker or Koo, we see that he did 10 out of there. So obviously kickers not huge in that, but they are definitely there. So you got Watson and Gray down here. Juju's here, was not targeted in last week. Only's been targeted once. So again, that's the problem with Kansas City. They have so many mouths to feed. They obviously can't feed a ton. Ingram is kind of interesting to me. Because he's so cheap. I don't think many people will be on him. So I think we could build a lineup with him in there. So we look at Bijan. We look at Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to go Mahomes with Worthy. This is just going to be a lineup of players that didn't do anything last week that we think might do something this week. So Travis Kelce. Kind of looking at this. You got Charlie Warner here. 1 reception in week 1, didn't do anything in week 2. Was cheap, is still there. McCole Hardman is another one. I mean, he just seems like he's just doing kickoff returns, and that's it. And we're not going to get anything out of that. So let's go Ingram, who maybe this would be a cheaper one. And then we got 5,900, which we can go to Pirine, or we can do one of the kickers. So let's go with Butker here, just in case. So this is obviously a 5-1 stack. 5-1, like we talked about at the beginning. 21% of the time, a 5-1 stack actually took it down. So this is just one of those lineups. So now let's do a different one with, let's go both kickers in this one. So I still think with like the captain spot, we still want someone who's gonna dominate, and I think that's Rashee Rice. So Patrick Mahomes throws it to him. Kirk Cousins. I do want, Drake London. We had him a pretty good performance with a touchdown last week. So if we do that, so we have Mahomes thrown to Rice, we have Cousins thrown to Drake London. So these are for the people that hand build these lineups, and my thought process when we build it out. So average 3,900 the rest of the way. So you can find those. Maybe he goes Ray McCloud, and now we're at 4,200, which is the Falcons defense and down, which I don't trust the Falcons defense. You kind of look at them. They haven't done much. They've given up some points there this year. Noah Gray, 37 yards so far in week 1, nothing last week. Be a cheap option at 2,600. You could go with Keontae Ingram if you think it's going to be dominant there. That'd be if we go Kansas City here, it's going to be a 3-3 stack. So Sky Moore is one that only 5 snaps. So Moore just played just 8% of the offensive snaps in the contest, ranking 5th among wideouts in the category. Third-year wideout is clearly fallen behind. So that is wild because last year, it is wild that he is not. But this is the problem. He's this price. He has not played the offensive snaps. This could be a game that he plays. Like, this is where we got to get creative, building a lineup to try and win, but also be different from the field. So you obviously, I don't really like anyone in the $200 range. I don't really like anyone below Sky Moore. Keontae Ingram makes a lot of sense being the up here, but maybe he doesn't touch the ball. Noah Gray makes sense. Justin Watson could make sense. Or we could get rid of McLeod. You could go a kicker of, let's say we go with Koo. Now we're at 3,000. Now we can go anywhere there as your, whatever. Let's say Noah Gray is there. Or let's go Justin Watson. I like what he brings to the table. I think Mahomes could throw to Rice and Watson, and then Cousins throws to London, and then they have a kicker as well. So a 3-3 stack, 3 Kansas City, 3 Atlanta. We'll lock that in there. And then again, you can mess around with this. You can see different ways to go about it. One way would be a Falcons defense. Maybe Mahomes throws a pick and they don't throw a flag on it. You've got that. You look through here and you've got Robinson at the top, Steele, McLeod, Cousins, Koo, and Rice. So a 4-2 stack with Atlanta. Because again, if it follows the game script, Kansas City's up big, Atlanta's going to have to throw the ball. So obviously that gets points to Cousins, and that gets points to, depending on who's there, whether or not it's Bijan, Ray McCloud, or if they get down the field and Koo kicks the ball. That makes sense. One that I just don't think makes any sense would be this Falcons defense as the captain spot. I just don't see that taking it down at all. But it does allow you to go, you do a Falcons defense, and then you've got Mahomes, Kelsey, Steele, Rice. You can go a lot of different directions. Personally, I don't think that takes it down. I don't even think it does much. Drake London makes a lot of sense. It's a 4-2 stack with Drake London and Kirk Cousins. I don't mind this one. I don't mind that one at all. That's pretty good there. P. Ryan is the only one that, he's at 5,400. Let's see what we can do. So London, Steele, Mahomes. So let's see if we can do... Where is he at? Drake London, Steele, Mahomes, Cousins, Butker. So it leaves... so it leaves 6,400, and then P. Ryan's there, which I just don't think he does much. So you're still at 6,400. So you could take Darnell Mooney, perform 41 yards or 88 yards last week, 103 yards so far in 2 games. Not too bad. Pitts has been, his offensive snaps have not been there. It's just wild. Like, I just think he might be a bust. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. So anyway, you could go anywhere from here. You could go Darnell Mooney and make that a 3-3 stack Atlanta, and then Mahomes, Steele, and Butker. Mahomes. So my only problem is Mahomes on the ground did have 29 rushing yards last week. So that is good. He did get the rushing yards. But other than that, he doesn't, 3 yards in week 1. So really just depends. And if we look at the matchup here, actually has pretty good matchup here against the Atlanta team that could allow him to run. So that's where he'd get his points here because he's obviously, he'd maybe dump off passes as Steele, but, he's not going to throw it to his kicker. So that's a stack you could look at. A different way you could look is I don't know if I'd go any lower than that. So that's kind of just a thought process, the way I built. I don't think P. Ryan makes any sense as a captain spot. That's only if you're making like 150 lineups and then you put in 150 lineups. So, and just in case. I don't think Pitts takes anything down in the captain spot. I don't trust that. That's too many points taken away. Rice, Steele, McLeod, Robinson, Mahomes, Chiefs. I don't mind that stack. That's a 4-2 Chiefs stack. You've got a 4-2 Chiefs stack here with Steele being a captain. I personally don't see it, but again, anything can happen in this game. You never know what Andy Reid is going to do. Like this one, I like this lineup. Ray McLeod, Worthy, Steele, Bijan. That's a 4-2 stack there with Rice. So I don't mind that yet again. So there are just different ways to go about building this lineup. If you want to check all of them out, if you want to check out all of the things we have, our cheat sheet, we have a cheat sheet broken down for showdowns. You can get it for $10 a week. Go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. The best one is the monthly pass. It's $29.99 for a month. You get MLB. You get NASCAR. You get NBA once it's back. You get NFL. You get PGA, which is back Thursday. You get MMA, which is back next weekend as well. You get all of those for $10 a week or $30 a month. That's what I've got in this video. If you guys liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not. We are 40 subscribers away from 10,000. We cannot wait. We're so excited. Let's get it there. Let's have some fun. Good luck on Sunday Night Showdown. Check out the Monday Night Showdown breakdown once that is live. There are 2 games on Monday night. 2 games. Washington, Cincy is the late game. You've got Buffalo and Jacksonville as the early game. Don't get a ton of double Monday Night Football games. So double the pleasure, double the fun. Let's double our money. All right. That's what I've got. Good luck. As always, bring home the bacon. Peace.